Okay, let's talk about Corona. What's my line? On Tuesday, August 25th, students of the graduating class of 2021 received this message from Dr. Mossbacher.
Unfortunately, we've had a recent uptick of positive COVID cases that has primarily impacted the senior class. No seniors will be allowed on campus on Wednesday, August the 26th.
This voicemail effectively marked the beginning of a class-wide quarantine for the seniors, who were the first test of Westminster's COVID contingency plan. And even though that event happened 4 weeks ago, I'm willing to bet you still don't know all the ins and outs of that plan. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk about the masks, the face shields, the contact tracing, and the county regulations that all play into that plan. This is Inside WCA's COVID contingency plan. First things first, let's talk about the stuff that's supposed to prevent the class-wide quarantines from happening in the first place, the shields and the face masks. So in doing my research for this video, one thing that really surprised me was how many of the really annoying and tedious details of the COVID plan come directly from the county health department and not from Westminster itself.
The county mandates face masks are worn inside the buildings for students K through 12th grade. The plexiglass dividers that we use within the classroom are added for an extra layer of protection, primarily because our students are not 6 feet apart in most of the classrooms. The plexiglass dividers were not a requirement by the county. However, through conversations through the summer with the Department of Health, they did advise that we add that layer of protection.
So, both the constant mask wearing and the plexiglass shields come directly from the county health department and are mandatory for schools that wish to have students attending in person. Actually, let's pause right there for a second. That sentence is key. This is the mindset behind the more tedious and annoying bits of the COVID plan. Westminster has to follow these regulations or else we're not allowed to go to school in person. We could sit around all day and debate the effectiveness of the masks and the plexiglass shields, but at the end of the day, we're not allowed to go to school unless they're there. Now that we know about the preemptive parts of the COVID plan, let's talk about the nitty-gritty stuff, the contact tracing. This is where we can look to the senior class quarantine as an example to figure out how Westminster does their contact tracing.
So what we had to do was go back through all of the senior positive cases, their classes, and look at the seating charts. And the Department of Health told us that anybody that sat adjacent to a student or was in 2 or more classes with any of the students had to be quarantined. And so that ended up being the whole senior class except for 2 students and about 10 underclassmen.
Okay, so now that brings us to the final bit of the plan, the quarantine itself. And like most of the other parts of the plan, I thought this came directly from Westminster. But once again...
Yeah, so it's important to know that it's not a school-mandated quarantine, right? The Department of Health ultimately decides who has to quarantine, and they issue that, and then we have to follow those regulations. And so basically it means that the quarantine from the Department of Health means that the person should stay in their house, not have contact with other people. They definitely shouldn't come to campus, can't come to sports or clubs or anything like that, class, until their quarantine period is expired.
Alrighty, so there you have it. That's the inside scoop on Westminster's COVID contingency plan. I'm Logan Mann, reporter for 800 News. Thank you so much for watching.
To avoid school quarantine is to not be deemed a close contact. A close contact is anyone who is closer than 6 feet for longer than 15 minutes. And potentially being exposed to somebody who is a positive COVID-19 case.